I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that brings us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here's to not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Welcome to We Need Help. I'm Lizzy.
And I'm Izzy, and today we need to talk about domestic violence. And I'm really, really happy that Amanda's with us. She is a domestic violence survivor, and she's going to share her story with us. So welcome, Amanda. So nice to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Amanda, when you reached out to me, I was so excited because this is one of the topics that I think that we all need to face a little bit more. I know that as a child, I watched my mom survive domestic violence. I've survived domestic violence. And I think that a lot of times when you're in the thick of it, you can't always see it. So thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So why don't we just dive right into it? In my opinion, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
What is when you called me, you told me that in 2024 something changed for you. So can we start there?
Yes, absolutely. So 2024 started for me, my New Year's resolution was to better myself. I was well overweight. I was very unhappy, just miserable in my life. I was on the verge of high blood pressure at my age, which I was just like, I'm in my late 30s. So it's kind of like history of family heart problems. Like, I don't need this. Like, I need to do something to better myself. And to do that, I started like going to the gym and working out, went on a strict keto diet. But I not only did it for me, I did it for my kids.
Okay.
I have two beautiful boys that need their mom, and they're mama boys, 100%, that need me around, So it started that way. And then
So it started with you just wanting to become physically fit.
physically fit.
Okay.
But the physical goes into mental too, big time. So I decided I signed up for the gym. My husband at the time, now ex-husband, he wanted to join with me because every time before that, every time I wanted to, get healthier and stuff like that, it was always, well, who are you trying to impress? Who are you trying to look good for? Oh, are you trying to leave me? So many things came up, but I stuck to my guns on this one.
What was what was the thing that made you your breaking point where you're like, no, I'm going to start taking care of myself? Was there like a moment where you just had this moment of clarity, like I need to start taking care of myself physically?
Pretty much a moment of clarity, and I'm always so focused on taking care of the kids. I was focused on taking care of him, it was always about them. And I never really, which is fine, especially when it comes to my children, but I've never made anything about myself because I'm just not that way. So I decided to do something different.
I think as women, we do that. And that's actually not what our children need to see. I think our children need to see us care for ourselves and so we can care for other people and not end up the doormat or the martyr or whatever it is. I think that's so good for your children to see.
Oh, 100%. So started to go to the gym and everything, strict diet. Of course, he had to go to the gym with me. And I got frustrated and annoyed,
Yeah.
And I got to the point to where I was like, I knew for a very long time that my marriage was just very unhealthy.
Yeah.
The abuse started back in 2019.
Okay. And how long have you been together? Like, how long had you been together before 2019? When was
we got together in 2017.
Okay.
But it's not like he was some random Joe off the street. We actually went to high school together. So we've known each other for a long time,
Yeah.
So that's when the first bit happened. And the marriage, like I said, so unhealthy and everything. There was constant fighting. And just walking on eggshells all the time.
Oh. What was the first red flag? Do you remember?
Um, the first red flag would have been, I mean, there's so many red flags, but
Like a bouquet. Oh, thank you. These are
yeah,
lovely.
yeah, they're gorgeous. Yes, hi. I just love to deal with this crap.
Yeah.
Um, Probably the time when I found out I was pregnant with our son.
Mm.
Um, his other ex-wife at the time had gave him the ultimatum, like, you either stay here or you never see your son again. So he had left me while I was pregnant with his kid.
Mm.
Mm.
And that red flag right there. But I was just trying to do what I could to just keep things what I felt was right, you know.
Well, and you're trying to
Um,
build a family. You're pregnant. It's like,
exactly. And it's not like my pregnancy was healthy. I was miserable. It was incredibly high risk and everything. And um, at first, he didn't even want me to have the kid.
Like, what did he
right.
say when you said, "Oh, we're pregnant," like, or I'm pregnant? Like, how did he react?
I think he was shocked.
Hmm.
But it wasn't when he found out that I was high risk, he tried to like make excuses like this baby's not going to be healthy, like,
Mm.
are we making the right decision and all these things. I'm like, I'm going forward whether you're going to be a part of it or not.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, you're a strong woman. Like you're doing what you want to do. But I mean, it doesn't stay like that, does it?
Oh, hell no. No, it does not. Excuse my
Yeah.
language, but
No, please.
so
Don't listen to this podcast with your children in the car. It's the end.
yes, yes.
Earmuffs.
So
So
then you realize he leaves you while you're pregnant.
yes. He comes back like midway through the pregnancy, and stays with us for good. But it was just a lot of emotions and roller coasters then, and I just knew like I had to try to just do everything to kind of power through it.
Okay.
Did you
And
want
Um,
what
to leave
happened?
but couldn't? Because I think that's what I struggled with a long time. Like, I really, really wanted to leave, but I was so afraid of leaving.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I wasn't really afraid of leaving at that time. I was more afraid to leave after the incident that happened in 2019.
Mm.
He was arrested for domestic violence by strangulation.
Mm.
He had me
So
up.
you were strangled.
Yes, he had put me up against the wall using his forearm against my throat.
Mm.
And there was so much more to it that happened that night, and just a lot of I felt trapped. Like every time I would
Yeah.
try to
Mm.
escape out of the house, like he would just trap me or push me to the side. I was luckily able to get help that night. I
Okay.
sent a quick text to a friend saying help.
Mm.
And next thing I know, I had Metro knocking at my door, and I was grateful
Wow.
for
Okay.
it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But in the midst of that argument and that battle, he had told me, he's like, if I ever tried to leave him, nobody would ever find my body.
Mm. And you're in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah,
So we all know that
desert everywhere. Yeah.
there's
Um, but that statement alone, like I had asked him, because he went to jail that night. He got out the next day,
How did he
and
act when he got out? Was he apologetic or was he mad?
he was super apologetic. I'm
oh,
so
that
sorry.
pisses me off.
I never would, I would never do that. I never want to hurt you. I never want to do
Was
this. And I'm
was
just
he
like,
under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
oh, he was blackout drunk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what? A lot of the truth comes out when you're drunk.
Yeah. A lot of
So
you can't hide. You can't hide
yeah,
you're ugly
it,
sometimes or your rage or
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So when he had come home, and I was hesitant about letting him back in the house, but it's his house too, so it's
Mm.
I have to. Um, I had asked him if he meant what he said, you know, about nobody will ever find my body if I testify against him or anything like that, and he was like, no. But in your mind,
Yeah. You're
that shit
afraid.
it lingers with you
Mm.
the entire time. So the entire time I've been in this relationship, I've just been afraid. Like I can't leave. What if he meant
Right.
it? I didn't think he would have done, try to strangle me.
Right.
You don't think about those things until you're in that situation, and it really, really messes with your head.
And does it
Right.
mess with your like body? Like what I found is being under that much anxiety all the time, I had like physical symptoms. I was like exhausted all
You're
the time and just like an
exhausted
undercurrent of anxiety at all times.
all the time, all the time. Um, it's not just like I tell everybody, it's not just physical abuse, it's mental abuse, it's emotional abuse, it's all the abuse, and it does a number to your body.
So we heard about the physical abuse with the hand and and some of the threats, but were there other signs of abuse? Like what can you share with us?
Well, other signs of abuse would be, I mean, just besides what he's done to me, I've been bitten,
Mm.
I've been shoved, I've been pushed. Every time we would get into an argument, um, I hate confrontation, you know,
No
and
wonder.
yeah,
You,
yeah,
I
because I've
mean,
seen it all, Um,
I mean, I would hate it too if every time I came in on my like came into my husband, he like choked me out. Like,
yeah, it's
yeah.
crazy. Well, not just, it's everything. So I get to the point like every time you'd want to fight with me, I shut down
Mm.
and I
Let me
try to
ask you.
avoid. Yeah.
And you said you're an open book, but if you don't want to answer this, how was your home life as a child?
Oh, my home life as a child was amazing.
Mm.
Okay, so you knew it
Yeah.
was wrong.
Yeah, I knew it was wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, no, growing up, I was nothing but loved. I have a big family, so my mom has always been so supportive of me, and just all my aunts and uncles are all like my moms and
Mm.
dads. That's just how tight knit we've always been.
Okay, so well, I always think, there's two kinds of abused women. Women that don't realize that it's wrong because
Yeah,
that's how they grew up. They grew up in a
Mm.
home
Yeah.
like that. And then there are women that and that is a harder woman to get out of that situation. So the fact that you knew that that's not how life should look is a good thing,
yeah,
right? Okay.
absolutely. So, where were we?
Oh, so you were getting bit, you were getting abused. There was
Bit
emotion.
abuse. There was emotional abuse, just you'll never find anybody that's as good as I am. You'll never amount to anything. Just
Mm.
words that you can just spew out
And
just
how did
to
you, can I ask how
break.
you reacted when he did that? Did you just shut down or did you
I
cry?
just,
Did you
I,
go to another room? Did you try to fight? Like how would you react?
I honestly, I would shut down. I would just go silent. And
Yeah.
most of the times, when I knew that situation was arising, I would try to leave because I
Yeah.
didn't want to deal with it. But he would
Okay.
never let me
Feel
leave
it
the
coming.
house.
That's the worst. It's like impending doom. Like it's coming. Yeah.
And you just don't want to deal with it. You don't want to deal with those hateful words. And I just don't want it to get to a point to where I snap back, you
Right.
know? Because a
Can I
person can
ask,
only take so much.
did how old? Because you have one child or two or
I got two boys.
two boys. Were they witness to some of this stuff, or were they too little? Or
So they were a witness to the incident that happened last year.
okay.
Uh,
Okay, what was
my,
that?
so we had already signed our divorce paperwork and everything. Once he realized that I was serious and I wasn't backing down from my decision, um, which was a hard question or a hard statement, I should say, to tell him like, "Hey, I want a divorce. I'm done."
When did tell us a little bit? I'm sorry if I'm backing up a little
No,
bit.
you're good.
I'd love to hear about when you came to that decision and how did you voice that to him?
So I came to that decision in January of last year. Um, it's always been in the back of my head. I'm not happy. I want out. I need to do something better for me and my kids. Like we need a healthy environment. And as shameful as this is to say, I asked him for a divorce through a text message because I was so afraid.
It's
Well,
not
I mean,
shameful.
it's not shameful. No,
It's not
I
shameful.
think that's safe.
It's not
I
That's
shameful, and
safe.
do not shame yourself because I was so afraid. And I told my best friend, I'm like, I'm such an idiot because I'm so afraid. And and she goes, if your child came up to you and said, Mommy, I'm afraid to tell you something. Would you call her an idiot? Or, would you shame her? And I'm like, no. And she's like, then why are you doing it to yourself? So it's not shameful at all.
That's true, yeah. So I had asked him through for the divorce through text message, and he was just like he lost, like my phone was just blowing up, and I was at work when I did it too, because I felt safe
Mm.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you
Yeah.
did.
So I knew eventually I would have to face that conversation with them face to face.
Mhm.
But I just made sure I stood my ground, like I'm not changing my mind. And I even
Right,
told him, I said, you and I both know that our relationship is so unhealthy, and
right.
it's not good for either you or for me. So I tried to make it about the both of us and both of our
Sure.
feelings, even though I was
Yeah.
more concerned about mine, you
Yeah.
know,
You should be.
like, like, but
I'm always more concerned about mine.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's why you have a successful marriage, Lizzy.
that
yeah.
is. I'm a taker.
So
Yeah.
we had filled out the divorce paperwork in February because I was like, I want to get this shit done. I want to be done. I want out. I'm done. And I think that me going stone cold that way and not voicing my opinion to him or not wanting to engage in that conversation with him, I think that's when he realized she's serious. Like this is
That's good.
over.
Yeah, they
Were you
and
living
it's
together at the time? So when you texted him, I
Yes,
want a divorce, and then did you have to come home and see
I
him?
did. Yes, I did.
And was that terrifying?
It was terrifying because I wasn't sure what I was,
Yeah.
to expect. Like, was he going to be drunk? What is he going to be on something? What is it? What am I going to have to deal with tonight? And he tried to
that is
talk to
the
me.
worst feeling
Yeah.
on
Oh,
earth.
that was every day of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is,
You don't,
it's so sickening in the stomach to be coming home and not knowing if you've got a mouse or a monster. I just,
yeah.
I know that feeling so well, and I'm just, ugh, it makes me nauseous to think
Yeah.
about.
Well, and not only that, like you just like you dread going home. Like for me, I
Yeah.
tense up. It was hard because like you don't know what to expect. And I hate this term, but I use this term all the time, and so many people do. But you don't know if it's going to be fight or flight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You
But
you know,
sometimes it's freeze.
yeah.
Sometimes you freeze and you just
Or
stop
fawn.
and you
There's a new
just,
one. There's fawn now.
Oh, that's a new one.
sometimes,
The new one. I'm
or you
like,
could
just keep
fuck.
adding F words
Could
to
fuck.
it. Not my favorite F word, but there.
Oh my God, that's funny.
So
So
Okay, so
started seeing that the divorce was serious. Like you were serious. You're not backing down.
yeah, so we filled out the divorce paperwork, got it sent right away. Got it. It got. I mean, the judge signed off on it
He
pretty
filled
quick.
he filled it out like too, like, or was he like
He,
resistant?
no, he filled that out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
good.
I think he was hesitant, but at the same time, I think he knew that I was,
Yeah.
There was
done.
probably all the time he's like thinking, "There's no way she's going to go through with this. She can't live without me. She can't." You know what I mean?
Oh no,
Like they,
I sat
like
there with him.
abusers feel like that.
Yeah. I sat there with him, making sure that all this paperwork was filled out correctly
Yeah.
because I
Good for
didn't want him
you.
to try to manipulate
Yeah.
anything
Like,
in
oh yeah,
any,
he didn't
yeah,
sign page 6. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So, after that, March 5th, 2024, we were still living in the same house together. Um, I had come home from work. Now I'm a bartender, so like my shifts are all over the place. I got a fork at midnight, and I had some friends come see me at work too, and I was just like, I don't know how it's gonna be tonight.
Mm,
I remember telling them like, I just hope he's asleep.
mm.
Right.
So I get
You
home.
had it in
It's
your gut. You know in your gut.
Yeah.
you just know, especially when you're dealing with all those that roller coaster of you just don't know what today's gonna be. Is
Mm,
Yep.
it good day, bad day? Is he gonna leave me alone? Is he gonna be up my ass? Like, what is it?
yeah.
Um, so I got home. It was a little after midnight, maybe about like 12:15, and I pour myself a glass of wine to unwind from work, Um, and I'm sitting outside in the backyard, and next thing I know, I see him stumble down the stairs, and
Uh-oh.
I was just like,
Gosh.
here we go.
Yeah.
Um, So he comes out to the backyard and he's sitting there talking to me about like St. Patrick's Day dinner. And he's
Mm.
so wasted and he pours himself more whiskey. He's so wasted and he's just mumbling on and on. And I'm just sitting there like texting my friend to like and just kind of giving her updates on what's going on. Um, he ended up standing up because I was just trying to ignore him. He stands up, biffs it in the backyard. Like I don't even know how he
Mm.
got up to move. So I go inside and he's trying to follow me.
Mm.
I go and lock myself in the downstairs bathroom. I call she's one of my best friends, who's been there for me every step of the way. She's just absolutely amazing. She's like a sister to me, you know. I call her, I have her on the phone, and he's at the door just trying to break in the bathroom.
God, that's like a horror movie.
It
Yeah.
is. It's, you know, and the entire time he did end up breaking in once. And I'm just like, I'm begging him to leave me alone. I'm not screaming. I'm not yelling. I'm trying to stay calm. My kids are upstairs
That's the
asleep.
worst thing you can, they don't want that. They want the reaction out of you.
They want the reaction. They want that rise because they
Hmm.
feed off of it, you know? Um,
Hmm.
so I ended up getting out of the bathroom. I got off the phone with my friend because he ended up going upstairs. I was like, I think he's done. I think he's going to bed. I'm going to be okay. So I give it about 10 minutes and next thing I know, he comes back downstairs.
Mm.
Um, obviously I had put the glass of wine down at this point because I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't need this, you know? Um, comes back downstairs. He starts fighting with me, starts arguing with me. Um, and so I go and lock myself in the bathroom again. He breaks in. I come out. I try to leave out the back. I go out the back door, trying to hop my gate or something just to get out. Um,
Mhm.
and, you know, he follows me every which way, pushing me, shoving me, just making it to where I can't leave.
Screaming at you, I'm sure.
Screaming. At that point, I was screaming as well.
Hmm.
I had ran upstairs, locked myself in my bathroom, um, just trying to get like trying to escape, you know, this nonsense
Sure.
that's happening. He ended up breaking that bathroom door down.
Mm.
Um,
And your babies are in the house?
babies are in the house.
Mm.
Um, so once he broke down the bathroom door, I had come out and I'm trying to run at this point, and he grabbed me and he wrestled me to the bathroom ground and took my phone away.
Mm.
Um, after he did that, and there's so much screaming and yelling, and I'm crying because I just want it to stop.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, I try to run out the bedroom door. I see my oldest son, Jet.
Oh
He
my
was
God.
he was 11 at the time.
Mm.
And I told Jet, I said, go call 911 now.
Mm.
Oh my
And
God.
then at that point, my ex-husband had threw me against our bedroom window that was on the second story that my son had to watch.
Oh.
Oh
So
my God.
my son went and ran to his room, grabbed his phone, and next thing I know,
See,
my
kids should have cell phones.
Yes.
yes. It's not always a bad thing. It's not always a
No,
bad thing, you know.
exactly.
So after Jet runs to his room, my ex-husband runs after him.
Oh no.
So then I instantly get up, even though I'm hurt. I instantly get up and I run
Did
to
the
his
window
room
like
too.
shatter? Did you get glass on you or anything? Or
Nope, window did
oh,
not
good.
shatter. Thank goodness, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so he's in the room wrestling my son to get his
Oh
phone.
my God.
So, and after he gets his phone, and I'm sitting there trying to deter him because, goddamn, you not gonna hurt my kid.
Yeah.
Right. Oh
Be-
God. Mama
be-
bear. Mama bear's in the
Oh,
house now.
oh, it's gonna get worse if you do. Um,
Mhm.
so I detoured him back downstairs, and I
Yeah.
told Jay, I said, "Stay in your room." My youngest son, was 5 at the time. He's
Mm.
crying in his room, begging us
Mm.
to stop.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I detour my ex-husband downstairs. I try to escape out the front door. He pushes me. Um, and then I try to go out through the garage. And Jet, my oldest, is halfway down the stairs trying to see what's going on. And he just
He's
looked at me.
terrified.
He's terrified. And he just looked to me. He was like, Mom, he's like, I'm sorry, I'm scared. And I was just like, I said, it's okay. I said, just go back upstairs, you know? Um, So he goes running back upstairs as I thought he went running back upstairs. I try to go out through the garage door, and it's a heavy spring door. I'm sitting there fighting, trying to get myself out while my ex-husband is trying to push me away. At that moment, he took the garage door, or the door, I should say, that goes into the garage. He pulls it all the way back, and the look in his eye, I knew he wasn't there. And
Hmm.
and it's the same look that I saw when he laid hands on me back in 2019.
Yeah.
Right.
Just gone,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
So he took that door, he pulled it all the way back, my hand in the door frame, right? And then he slams it shut. And he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And then after he slammed the door shut, he put both of his hands on the door and just made sure it was shut tight and closed while my hand is in the door.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
He, let's just say my middle finger, my favorite finger, by the way,
Yeah.
That
bent.
would be my favorite finger right now.
Permanently like this now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is it just permanently in this position?
Yeah, right. Actually bent the deadbolt lock. My tendon was exposed. I broken my ring finger. So there was some damage. I have permanent damage to my middle finger. I have absolutely zero feeling in it.
Okay.
There's so much nerve damage. Even the orthopedics, like, I can't fix this.
Oh my freaking
Yeah.
God. And
So
please tell me that Jet wasn't watching.
Jet saw everything. He recently came out and told me because like, we don't talk about it unless they want to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
he's like, Mom, he's like, I just wanted you to know I saw everything that night.
Mm.
And he went into, I'm like, really? I go, what did you see? And then he went into complete detail of everything. And I was just like, shit, you know? So
I remember that feeling of my mom being abused where I could hear it, but I couldn't see it. And
yeah,
it's so scary to not be able to see it, but then you also don't want to see it.
exactly. Well, it's
It's
just like anybody yelling, you all automatically tense up. Like, what the hell is
Yeah.
happening? You know?
And your mom, you're like worried about, like, for some reason, when your mom is upset, like your whole world is destroyed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. His innocence, Jet's innocence, were definitely taken from him that night, which
Yeah.
isn't fair. He saw things that he should never, ever in a million years witness. But it took me, at that point, like, just removing the door from my hand. And I looked at my hand and I was just like, this is not good.
Oh my
It,
gosh.
I needed medical attention. There was blood everywhere.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so I'm sitting there trying to beg my ex-husband, please, because he took my car keys. He took everything from me. My cell phone, my
Mhm.
watch. Like, he would not let me have a damn thing. I was like, I need to go to the hospital. I
Were
need
there
medical
neighbors? Like,
attention.
could they hear stuff or was it?
So we had one neighbor to the right of us. She's an older woman. I don't think she heard anything. She's hardly home anyways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was screaming so loudly, like, I just trying to get some sort of help,
Yeah.
Right.
begging and pleading, yelling, somebody please help me,
Yeah.
hoping that somebody would hear me and then Metro would show up at my door.
Right.
That's what I was hopeful of. Never happened.
So then
Uh,
what happened?
so it took me 30 minutes to talk with him and let it, like, I need to go to the hospital now. He's like, no, he's like, we can just pack it up. It's going to be fine. I'm like, I can see my tendon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
my God.
I've never had a wound like this. And I've
Yeah.
worked in kitchens and everything. I've cut myself, broken bones, whatever. But this was no. So 30 minutes, he finally takes me to the emergency room close by.
How did he take
Okay.
you? Was he driving?
He drove. He would not let me drive myself,
Oh my
which was even
God.
scarier because the emergency room was a couple miles down the road. So it's like, first of all,
He's hammered.
you're hammered. Okay, so we can either get in a car accident and you can kill us both, you can hurt somebody else, or you're gonna get a DUI, which God, by this time, I really hope you do get a DUI
Right.
because I want
Right.
out of the situation.
Yeah.
So we make it to the emergency room. There was nobody in there but us. he's checking me in because I'm trying
Your
to
kids
sit
were
there.
just back at the house?
He left them at the house. Yes.
Sorry, I
Um,
don't know why that thumbs up just showed up. Okay.
you're good. So while he's checking me in on the little kiosk, there was a security guard. I looked at
And
the
you're like
security guard.
this.
I'm sitting there like trying to hold my
You're
hand,
trying to
and
do this, but your fingers like this.
yeah.
You can't
So
do this.
You can't do the
can't do
sign.
anything. So I looked at the security guard, and because I was just so distraught, crying, and I just wanted this nightmare to be over. And I looked at him and I lipped, "Help me."
Oh,
Oh my God.
And it took me about the second time for him to like really pay attention. And then it was like maybe a second later, he comes out and he calls my name. And then my ex-husband tries to go in the back with me, and he's like, "Nope, just the patient." And it was that moment they set me down on the chair immediately and made sure the door was shut so he couldn't come back. That I just lost it completely. The I cried, I sobbed. I remember hearing the nurses, doctors like, "We're coming, it's okay, just calm down." And it was that moment, like I just felt the relief of I'm safe.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is over. He's not gonna hurt me anymore ever again.
Right.
And I don't when I talk to people like, when people found out I was getting a divorce and they found out about what happened, like, I let them know this wasn't the first time,
yeah.
Yeah.
but it's definitely the last.
Yeah.
Right.
You
What's
know,
the breaking point?
Like, how
yeah.
did the security, I mean, did they get the police to come and arrest your ex-husband, and then did they
Oh,
have like a person come and talk to you, or like how
so Metro did show up. Obviously, the hospital has to report it, and I have to report it as well. Metro showed up, and they took the report, and they said, "When we find him, we'll arrest him."
because he
So
took off.
he took off.
Oh my God. Every time you put your thumb up, it
I'm
gets a
not
thumb
gonna,
up.
I'm just gonna use this.
So he took off.
So he took off.
Yes, he took off. Um, so my best friend that I had told you about, she had come to the emergency room with me. I went through tons of x-rays on my arms, on my back, and stuff like that because I was from just being thrown around all night. Obviously, I had 13 stitches on just one finger alone, plus the broken finger. So she came and stayed at the emergency room with me until I got released. I didn't get released till it was like 5:30 in the morning. So
Yeah.
needless to say, I had been up since 6 o'clock the morning before with work
sure.
and dealing with kids and stuff like that. So, but at that point, like you think I would be exhausted from everything. But the first
No.
thing I said on the way back, she took me back to her house. I was like, I need wine.
Yeah.
Like, please.
Morning
Please.
drinking is
Yeah, I
definitely
love that dog. I miss
Well,
it
to
so
me,
much.
it was still night because I never went to bed. So I still considered it
Yeah.
night to
Right.
like,
Yeah,
And
that
a
doesn't
dollar.
count. It's not really morning drinking if you haven't slept.
Oh, it's
exactly.
That's me.
That's what
that's every Coke addict ever known. Is it really morning drinking if you never
No.
stopped the night before? Mm-mm.
no.
So what happens
Okay,
after that? Like he's in jail, or
Nope.
oh,
No. So he had blown up my phone all that morning when I was with my friend.
the phone that was in his pocket.
Yeah, well, he ended up giving it back to me at the emergency room, you know. So my friend got irritated at the point because he just wouldn't stop. She finally answered the phone. She's like, she doesn't want to talk to you. You need to stop. She needs the rest, you know.
Yeah.
It took for so I instantly got a TPO, a temporary protection order. I had my friend, she had to fill out the paperwork because I couldn't write. My right hand is my dominant hand, so
Oh,
I was
okay.
screwed. I had to learn to be a lefty, and it's weak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the TPO was granted right away. So I had to go through all that process, and then when I had to re-up from the TPO to a regular protection order, that court hearing ended up being even though I presented all the evidence, the pictures of my hands, the statements, I had to have my son write a statement of
Oh
everything
my
that he
God.
saw, which is something I don't ever want to put him through. Um, Presented that to the judge. But since he was behaving himself and that the justice courts weren't going after him with any charges, they lifted the protection order. And I was like, what do you mean the justice court isn't going after for any charges? Like what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So I called the justice courts. I'm like, this is not right. Like, what is happening? And there was a little hiccup to where the detective didn't have me make sure that they were going after the right person.
Mm.
So once
Okay.
I verified that information, all these charges started to arise.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Good.
they charged him with domestic violence with substantial bodily harm, 3 counts of coercion with force, and then child abuse and neglect because the children
Wow.
were present. Um, oh, sorry.
It's usually
I
me
thought
that
my
gets a
sound
phone
was off.
call.
I thought my sound was off.
Okay.
Speaking of my best friend, that's her calling.
Yeah. She
uh,
felt it.
we check on each other multiple times a day.
I love
So
that.
I love that. I love
that's
that.
just that's just how we are. And we make fun of each other all the time too. So we went through that process with the justice courts and everything. I went through every court last year that I never thought I would see in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Family courts, justice courts, district courts. Like I'm so
How
tired of
was he in
courts.
court? Like, did he look at you? Did you guys
He
talk?
would not
Like,
he would not make eye contact with me. In the justice courts, my district attorney, she's told me we could go to trial if we wanted to. All the evidence was against him, right? But they didn't want to put me through trial
hmm,
because of
Okay.
everything I had already endured. So I was like, you know what, you're right. I just want this to be done. I want to be done with it, everything. But I also don't want him getting away with shit.
yeah,
He
Yeah.
needs to be punished for his actions.
yeah.
So his sentencing, he was sentenced to felony probation, has to take all these classes, pay all these fines, I'm sure. His sentencing was January 7th of this year
Okay.
Okay.
with the district courts. And I showed up. He would not look me in the eye.
Yeah.
When it came time for the judge to speak with him, we both had to write impact statements. I wrote an impact statement, and apparently I didn't know he had to write one too, but he did. Um,
Okay.
the judge looked at him and he said, after reading your ex-wife's statement, he goes, I have to say I'm disturbed by the things I put
Yeah.
in there,
Hmm.
and then he goes, after reading your statement, he goes, I'm completely disgusted with you because you absolutely showed zero remorse.
Wow.
So that moment for me was a moment of like, finally, somebody can see through
It's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Validation for everything that you're going
his
through.
crap. Like they
There's nothing
see.
better than that.
I
There's,
know,
Ain't
and
nothing better.
it was such a great feeling, like, and it's like
yeah.
you mess up one time, it's an automatic 2 to 5 years in prison. Like,
Yeah. It's not
finally,
you.
So
it's not me. I
yeah,
mean, I can be crazy, but I'm crazy in a good way. Like I try to make it fun, and be
yeah,
outgoing and just I want to love life. I don't want to deal with the stress. I don't want to deal with the bullshit. I just want to live my life free.
And
And that's
laugh
what
and
I'm
have
doing.
fun and eat food and have a glass of wine and just enjoy your life with your friends and your family. And that's what we all want.
It's the greatest feeling too. Like somebody had told me the other day, they sent me a message. They said, I love seeing you happy.
mm,
And
That's
the
a hell of
words
a
that,
compliment.
hell yeah, because I've after everything I've been through, like I just feel comforted. I feel happy.
mm,
We all have our life stresses and everything like that. We all go through things. But
Hmm.
what? At the end of the day, like my freedom, because that's what it is, now that I'm by myself, not in that situation, I'm free. I'm
Yeah.
free to do whatever the hell I want.
love
Right.
that.
I don't have to answer to anybody like where are you going? Who are you with? Why are you doing
Exhausting.
that?
Yeah.
It's really exhausting. And you know what? The thing that's kept me that has been the greatest thing for me is my support system
Yeah.
Hmm.
and
Well,
keeping
that's
things
they like to isolate, so you can't have a support system. So it's the
right.
most important part of getting out of a toxic and abusive situation like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, so it's
sometimes you can't even see the abuse, and that you need your friends to tell you this is abuse.
right.
Yeah.
So a lot of my friends were like, Amanda, we had no idea.
Oh,
You guys always seem so happy.
mm.
Well, yeah, I put a smile on my face every freaking day just to hide the pain, you know?
Because you want to be happy. You're like, I'm not happy, but I'm going to fake it until I make it because I'm trying to live every day happy. Because I think it's important. These guys aren't all bad.
No.
They're not bad all the time. So, like, you are happy sometimes.
And but
Right.
that's what gets you, because if they were all bad at
It's like
bees,
you're fish
there's,
and they got to reel you
yeah,
back in.
they reel you back in with that.
Yeah. So it's
Um,
not, it's these situations, you'll have a million good days, but is that worth getting your head bashed in every now and again? Oh,
no,
like you're just in survival mode. You're just like, okay, I'm just going to have a happy day. I'm going to take this slim pickings,
Yeah.
yeah,
you know?
You're literally in survival mode every single day.
yeah.
Hmm.
Every single day that you're in that sort of situation. And a lot of people don't understand. And you and I had this conversation over the phone, like coming out to talk about it is more or less like um, it's hard because you're embarrassed. You
Hmm.
don't want to feel the judgment from other people. Like, why would you say with somebody like that? Like, no, it's unless you're in that situation, you don't understand how hard it is to get out.
They're doing that in the P. Diddy trial now. Like I'm seeing on social that why didn't she just leave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said like the
It's
victim
not that
shaming,
easy. It's not that
the
easy. It
survivor
doesn't work that
shaming.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I
So,
mean, you feel people are like, I had no idea. Well, of course you didn't. I was hiding it.
yeah.
Yeah.
What
So,
do you have do you have full custody of the kids?
So I have sole custody of my oldest. Um, Currently, right now, we do joint custody of my youngest.
Okay.
how
Don't ask
scary is
me.
that?
It's terrifying,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially when he, calls me crying because he wants to come home.
Mm.
It just breaks my heart every time. I'm just like, what can I do?
Is I'm assuming your ex had issues with substance abuse. Is he sought help for that or not?
He doesn't have a choice but to
Okay.
be sober. It's a part of his probation, and he's had
Okay.
to do his classes and stuff like that. So, I mean, I hope for his sake and for our kids' sake that he would do it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
What what can you tell women? Like what can you share from your experience? Like what do you want women to know about or men? Because that happens to men too.
Oh my God, it happens to men
oh
all
yeah.
the time.
What about your experience? Like what do you want to share with women?
I think with anybody, I would love to share that it first of all, it's never going to get better.
Hmm.
Get
People like
better.
that will they will always say they'll change, they'll do better, it will never happen again. Guess what? It's always going to happen again. It's only a matter of time. Um, d
That's so true.
and then another thing is don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, um, I needed a lot of help, obviously, especially after everything I went through. A lot of emotional support. I had more days to where I was crying more than being less happy. Um, so finding yourself a
And
good,
watch your physical, watch your how you're feeling physically. If you're not feeling good physically, something is wrong in your house.
Hmm.
yeah. Um, not only that, but also like get yourself a good support system.
Hmm.
I That's one thing I am so grateful for is I had the most amazing support system. My family, my friends, they were just there for me, even on my days where I was sobbing like a freaking crybaby because I just mentally couldn't handle any more just shit that I've already been dealing with it. Because every time there was something being thrown at me, and I was just you're done.
How how do I support my friend that's going through this? Like, what is the best thing I can do for her? Is just be there?
Just be there. Be there.
Okay.
Listen. Listen to what they have to say. You know, if they want to talk about it, let them talk about it. Um,
Okay.
and you know, give advice, just give a direction, or like give suggestions, or you know, just being there and listening is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Hear me out. For me, it's taken a long time for me to like come out and talk about this because
Hmm.
I wanted to forget about it, right?
Yeah.
You want to forget, like you don't want to relive the pain. And like there's days I still struggle, you know, but I'm having more good days than I have bad days.
Do you feel
I
like you
think
have a bit
there,
of PTSD from it? Like,
I definitely do. There's situations that will happen that I'm just like, and it will something will flash back, but
mm,
I tend to get over it pretty quickly.
yeah,
Um,
because you're working through it. That's what you're doing.
you
yeah,
work through it daily, work through it
Yeah.
daily. And also I try to keep things as consistent as possible for my kids. My
yeah,
kids
I
need their
love
mom.
that.
yeah.
Yep.
Like even after the incident happened last year, you know what? They didn't go to school that next day. But guess what? They went to school the day after that. Like, we're
Yeah.
going. Like, let's go. We got to get back to normal
Business as
life.
usual. Yeah.
Yeah. Just so they can see that things are back to normal.
I
Even
think
though
our
I
number one job as mothers is to secure them.
exactly, even though I was struggling, doesn't mean that they need to struggle too. You know, it's like
Well, I mean,
I told my oldest son, after he had witnessed everything, I said, I need to tell you something. And he goes, what? I said, no man or no woman should ever lay hands on one another, ever,
mm-mm,
Mm,
no.
you know?
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the best thing. I mean, you had to parlay it into a lesson because that's what pain is. Pain
yeah.
is a, a way that we can enrich ourselves and connect with somebody else because you telling this story could reach somebody else and help them. You're
And that,
parlaying your pain.
and that's what I'm hoping. Like, you know, if I can, you know, fuck my trauma. Okay. The trauma that I've been through it. I've lived through it. If I can help another person feel a little bit more confident about getting out of their situation that they're currently in, that's the greatest blessing to me. To be able to help
Yeah,
somebody from my experience, my pain, the crap that I went through. I understand how you feel.
right.
And it's a struggle, and you feel while you're going through this, you feel very alone. Even though you have support, you still feel very alone because
Hmm.
the mental and emotional abuse that this person has done to you has already just made you feel like that from the get-go. Like you're
Yeah.
nothing. You're not worthy. Nobody cares about you. So that always sits in the back of your head. Um,
No one is ever connected in survival mode. That's why
correct.
you feel alone.
Yeah.
You're nobody is like you're just trying to survive. You're looking in like it's me. I'm trying to survive here. It's getting out of the survival mode and connecting and locking arms with other women and men and friends and getting your story, telling the truth to
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah. What
So
I mean, if somebody
go
wants
ahead.
to get in touch with you because they're struggling and they need just to talk, how can they get in touch with you? What's the best way?
So I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. You can find me there. Um,
You're at your Instagram is Chef
With two F's.
C
two
two
F's.
F's Amanda Jade.
Yes.
Okay. So reach out
And
to
there's
Chef Amanda Jade with two F's.
two F's, two F's. Um, you know, I'm willing to help anybody that wants to get better. I've already had like just by some of my posts that I've posted, a couple people reach out to me
Mm,
I love
like, thank
that.
you for sharing. You know, I'm kind of in the same situation, but they haven't gotten physical. Okay, well, they haven't gotten physical yet.
yet.
Get
Yeah.
out. You know,
Yep.
so if I can help guide somebody in the right direction to seeking help, so they can feel that freedom that I feel, that's the greatest power of healing for me.
Mm.
You know,
Uh, didn't you have a hotline that somebody can call for a nationwide hotline?
so I do. The hotline I have is actually the National Domestic Violence Hotline.
Okay.
Their phone number is 1-800-799-SAFE. You can also text. You can text START to 88788. if you don't feel comfortable
Eight,
calling.
888-788.
Correct.
Okay.
Star
Okay.
887788. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank you, Amanda. This has
Izzo,
been-
would you mind telling that story? Because I want to make sure everyone knows about the hand signal. Izza had a
Oh.
situation happen, and I know you'll appreciate the story and probably tell it going forward. But will you please tell that story of the woman that approached you?
Yeah, I was just in the countryside, and this woman approached me and just did this.
She
And
did this.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she got it's the two fingers going down, and I knew what it meant because I just seen it somewhere like randomly on Instagram, and I just took her in the car and drove her to I think it was her parents and her sisters. Like, yeah, so
It
So
means
she
like
was,
help, right?
yeah, she needed
yeah.
help.
So
Yeah,
she was barefoot. It was raining out.
yeah,
She had been, the guy had just ran into the gas station,
yeah.
and she gave the signal.
She was literally
And
like in the car because he wouldn't let her put on her shoes,
Mm,
thinking like, where's she gonna go? Right?
yeah.
Pouring rain and everything, and I just took her in the car. Yeah.
Hey, when you're desperate, you don't care whether you got
Yeah.
shoes on your feet or not.
Yeah, but I could just feel that like he's thinking she's not going to go anywhere if she doesn't have her shoes, right?
Wow.
But if I don't think if anyone else, if they didn't know that signal, I don't know they would have just been like, what? But
yeah, you wouldn't have known.
yeah,
But I think it's important that we all know it. We're going to post it on
Yeah.
We Need Help, the podcast. We're like, please know this signal, this hand signal, and take care of each other. All you have to do is make an excuse to get her out, him or her out of
Yeah.
the situation, like the security guard did for
yeah,
you.
Yep.
yeah,
And
I'm
like,
forever grateful to that security guard also.
yeah. And I'm sure that girl is forever grateful for you, Izza.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Amanda. It was lovely meeting you. Like really.
You as well. Thanks for having me on here and helping me bring awareness to this shitty situation.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling the story. And we are wrapping you in like golden light, and your life is going to be so fucking fabulous now. And your boys are going to grow up and be kind and gentle men. And it's just like, I'm
Oh,
so
my
proud of
boys
you.
they are thriving and they're just so lovable and so sweet and so crazy, you know, and
Yeah, they're going to be,
they're what keep me going in this world.
Oh,
well, we think you kick ass.
you
So
too. All
Well,
right. Well,
thank
lots of
you.
love, guys. Thank you so much for a lovely episode.
thank you guys.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you so much for joining us this week on We Need Help, the podcast.
Make sure to like, subscribe, like again our YouTube channel, our Instagram, follow us wherever you can. It really, really helps us out and ensures that you won't miss any future episodes. So, yep, thanks to you, we can keep going.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.